Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hi everybody! Italian Wine Podcast celebrates its 4th anniversary this year, and we all love the great content they put out every day. Chin Chin with Italian wine people has become a big part of our day, and the team in Verona needs to feel our love. Producing the show is not easy, folks. Herding all those hosts, getting the interviews, dropping the Clubhouse recordings, not to mention editing all the material. Let's give them a tangible fan hug with a contribution to all their costs. Head to ItalianWinepodcast.com and click donate to show your love.
Hey, my name's Stevie Kim, and welcome to Italian Wine Club. Today's call is what I believe to be our 9th installment of the Ambassadors Corner. Actually, our first of the series kickoff was with our current moderator, Cynthia Chaplin, and she's back. So, since then, our mod squad, that's what I like to call all of our ambassadors, a mod squad of ambassador has interviewed Alberto Tasca, Elena Fucci, that wonderful interview from Shaowen, Rocco Toscani, Roberto Di Meo, Stefano Chiarlo, to name a few. In fact, I think we just dropped today Paul Bologna session with Massimiliano Brambilla today on Italian Wine Podcast. So check that out if you missed that call. For those who are new in the audience, Ambassadors Corner is where Italian wine ambassadors like Cynthia and many others get a chance to nominate and interview their favorite Italian wine producers on Clubhouse. Don't forget to pick me, Laika, or Joy if you like to nominate and interview your personal favorite Italian wine producers. As always, a quick shout out to Laika, our backstage Clubhouse manager, and Joy, our Italian wine podcast producer. So before we get on to today's show, as always, I need to remind you in the audience and the panelists that this room indeed will be recorded and may be replayed on the Italian Wine Podcast. That we'd like to repurpose content because I think they are really can be interesting for others who are not present today. If you can give a thumbs up to the Italian Wine Podcast and rate our podcast wherever you get your pods, we'd really appreciate that. And if you like to make a small donation, we love you even more. Let me now start the show by saying a few words about Cynthia, your host ambassador for today. Before we get to Cynthia, I just like to, I don't know, I don't see Lan today, but I'd like to say something about Lan because a lot of you have been asking about him. I know some of you are sad Lan has left our group after 5 years. Believe me, it's no small miracle. He's lasted 5 years. Ha ha ha. He's thoroughly enjoying his retirement, as you can see from his social media, from us, mostly from me, from in Piemonte, if anyone wants to hit him up. Obviously, he'll continue to be part of our community, and I'd personally like to thank him for all he has done for us and our group, including driving me crazy. Grazie, 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 Lan. So getting back to Cynthia, Lan's gone, and now Cynthia has joined us. She's sitting right next to me in the Italian Wine Podcast booth. She clearly hasn't a clue what she's in for, but now she's still in her honeymoon, I believe, phase. So we're glad to welcome her. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thanks for having me, Stevie.
She's our Neo-Italian wine ambassador and will be part of the VIA team with Jacopo and Rebecca. In short, you will be seeing a lot of her. So, I like to do 2 things before I hand the mic over and get on with my drink here. I made a little mix with Carucci and Malvasia Puntinata. And Cynthia was like, I didn't come all the way here to drink Malvasia Puntinata. That's another story. So what I always love to do with my moderator is that I like to ask them, one, why they've chosen this particular producer. And today, of course, is Ilaria Tachis. The last time I saw her was at Vinitialy. We did this iconic tasting in honor, of course, of her father, Giacomo Tachis. Wonderful, wonderful. One of the more memorable tastings I've had in my wine career. And then the other thing, of course, because we like to make it a little bit educational, what the learning objectives are. So let's get to first why you've selected Ilaria Tachis as your interviewee today.
So I selected Ilaria because I met her in a totally different way than Stevie did. I met Ilaria just a very brief time after Giacomo had passed away in 2016. And she was doing a tasting of wines that she was making in the vineyard she created with her father. They did a vertical there. And after the tasting, which was incredible, of Sangiovese and Merlot blend, she was left on her own while all of the dignitaries, shall we say, of the evening chatted with others. And so I just sauntered up to her and said that her wines had really touched me, and I was a great fan of her father, and I was sorry for her loss, and we got chatting, and we've become friends over the years. She kindly invited me to her vineyard and to her agriturismo. We've had some wonderful evenings together. I've had the opportunity to meet her husband and her children and help her with her website, and I'm very proud of everything she's accomplished since Giacomo died. I find her wines really compelling with a great story. I fell in love with her Pargolo, which we'll talk about later. And I think it's really important that people know that Giacomo's daughter is creating new wines, not just carrying on the legend that he created, but starting her own future and her family's future as well.
Okay, great. And what about the learning objectives? What are the learning objectives of today?
Well, my objective really is to let people know that Ilaria Tachis is out there making wine. Ilaria herself is a very humble person. She doesn't play off the history of her father at all. She is a person who's very dedicated to what she's doing, not only in her vineyard, but in her garden and as a mother and as a wife. So I think it's important that people understand that Giacomo's daughter is making wine in her own way. Her words to me when I first met her were she had taken everything she learned at his knee with Sangiovese and Cabernet blends, and she decided to make Sangiovese and Merlot blends because they're more feminine. And I fell in love with that idea. Her wines are wonderful, and I think people need to know they're out there.
Okay, fantastic. Listen, just before I hand over the mic to you, I just want to remind our audience that next week we have Hugh Priest interviewing Ariana Occhipinti, and we have whole loads of program which I will publish. I was a little bit busy going to Slovenia, which is actually, Slovenia is actually a lot closer than you think, because I crossed the border between Koljo and Koljo, equivalent to Koljo in Slovenia is called Berda, about 10 times the past few days. And it was fascinating. I was a little enthralled by my trip there. So I was a little bit busy and, of course, at the office. But now I think, we're going to go back to our full schedule of Clubhouse. And we have everything lined up until actually the 14th of October. I see Laika too. So she's going to give me the okay. 14th of October. She confirms. So we have a lot already confirmed, and we will be looking forward to that. If you are interested, let me just remind you that you should hit up Laika or myself or Joy on Italian Wine Podcast, and we will take your nomination into consideration. Okay, Cynthia, take it away.
Thanks, Stevie. Well, it is truly a pleasure for me to be here tonight and talking to Ilaria Tachis, the daughter of Giacomo Tachis, the legendary winemaker. But more importantly to me personally is that Ilaria is a dear friend with a fascinating story and a wonderful, big, gigantic heart. So I'm very grateful that she accepted this invitation. Social media is not Ilaria's favorite thing, so we're very blessed to have her with us this evening. She's coming to us from Sardinia. We'll talk about why she's there at the moment, because normally she is buried in her household life at Podere la Villa in Tuscany. So I just want to say thank you to Ilaria and welcome her to Clubhouse. She joined it today just so she could be here with us tonight. Hi, Ilaria. It's a great pleasure. I just want to let everyone who's listening know a little bit about your background, if you'll let me. Ilaria always lets me do these things. I drag her kicking and screaming into social media and into websites that she doesn't want to have, so she's used to me telling her that she needs to do things that are more modern. But her background is in English literature, not in wine. So she decided to go into wine quite late. She wasn't one of these winery children who stayed in wine for all of their life. She came into it later, and the vineyard that she runs now, called Podere la Villa, is one that she started with her father, Giacomo. So it's really great fun for me to have you here and to be able to tell our listeners your story. I've been longing to do this, as you know, Ilaria. I tease you all the time about how humble and how generous you are with your time for me. So thank you so much for coming this evening. So I'm going to just say that Ilaria is in Sardinia, not on vacation, because Ilaria never takes a vacation. She's always very, very busy as a mother and as a winemaker with quite a big piece of land where she grows her tomatoes according to the cycles of the moon. She really hangs on to the tradition of her mother and her father, both of whom were really important people in her lives. She was very close to both of them. So she's in Sardinia today at Tenuta Asinara, who are honoring Giacomo Tachis by naming a street after them. So I just want to ask, Ilaria, you and I talk about this a lot, how it's been for you since your Babbo died in 2016. It's been a very big mantle for you to carry, a big responsibility, a big legend to take on board. Not what you like. I know you don't like the spotlight. So how has it been for the past 5 years?
I feel that my father is in my heart every day, as well as my mother. And I have the strong feeling that his spirit is very close to me and to my family, and that many of the events we came across in the last years were there because he put them on our way. And many of the decisions we took them with his approval. I really have this strong feeling in my heart, and I also think that you'd be very happy about what we are doing. In this way, I carry his mantle.
I think that's exactly right. You've had so much outside pressure in the past few years, a beautiful book written about Giacomo, so many other things, so many memorials, and it's not easy to go through those moments, and you've carried it all with good grace and good humor and really elegantly. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
It makes me smile that you're in Sardinia today to be there for the street being named after Giacomo, because I know how much he loved Sardinia.
Oh, Sardinia was his second home, and today I told the children this is another gift from Nonno Giacomo. He wanted us to come to Sardinia again, I think. He loved this region, he loved the culture of Sardinia, he loved the wines, he loved the people. He was more Sardinian than Piemontese, despite his birth was in Piedmont, took place in Piedmont. But I think his heart was in Tuscany, of course, and second place was Sardinia.
I think that's really true.
Very proud to be here. I'm very happy.
I'm so glad. I think you're right. I know he's smiling down on you and the boys on
Yes,
Sardinia today.
exactly. And we are going to Tenuta Asinara tomorrow because they are going to inaugurate the street heading to the winery in the name of my father. I didn't know much about this winery until a few months ago when they contacted me, but I came to know that this was one of the last consultations of my father when he came to Sardinia. And the owners of this winery at the very beginning were not winemakers or wine producers, but they were allevatori. They had I think sheep and other animals and asini from Asinara, donkeys. But my father suggested that they could make wine because their soil was so vocated to winemaking. And since then they started, and now they are very successful. And I'm looking forward to meeting them.
I'm so glad to hear this. Anything that honors Giacomo and that includes you always makes me happy. I'm just going to ask you quickly because we were talking about it this morning, and it's so fascinating about the wine that they're aging under the sea.
Yes, I don't know much about it, but I read that on the program that there will be an helicopter and they are going to leave some wine or grapes, I don't know, underwater, 40 or 50 meters underwater. And we will also have the honor of tasting the wine that will be picked from the water and that was aging for a few years, I think, and for the first time we're going to taste it together. So I'm very thrilled about it.
So this is a great event. I think your Babo must be laughing to watch this.
Yes, I think it's interesting from an archaeological point of view because I think that people are going back to make wine like the Greeks made so many centuries ago. And my father was always so excited about it.
No, it's true.
He loved archaeology, loved the whole history, and he always said that wine comes from Greece and even more east than Greece, from Asia. So I think we are going back to the roots.
I think that's great. And he probably would have passed my Italian wine ambassador exam in a much better and more stylish way than I did, knowing all of that history. But I'm going to ask you now about the vineyard that you created with Giacomo. It's called Podere la Villa in San Casciano, Val di Pesa, that you started, I think I remember you telling me 2004, with your husband Raffaele and Giacomo.
Yes, I moved to this house in 2000, which is a typical Tuscan farmer house in the nearby of my parents' house. I moved to this house in 2000, and we had an old vineyard, only 1 hectare vineyard, which we gave to a neighbor who had a little farm, a little winery, but we were not interested at that time in making wine. Then in 2004, my father and we decided to replant the vineyard because it was too old and needed some renovation. And that's how it all started. And in 2007, we had our first harvest, which coincided with the birth of my first son, Riccardo. And for this reason, we decided to make our own wine by the name of Pargolo, which is a tender expression to mean baby in the Italian language. The wine, a Chianti Classico, was successful, and we decided to continue this way. So that was our first step.
This was the wine that I fell in love with when I met you.
Yes, exactly.
For people who've never tried this wine, it's a Sangiovese, it's a Chianti Classico, but Ilaria commissioned an illustrator to make the label, which is a beautiful black and white, almost a pen and ink pencil drawing of a helium balloon, but the balloon is all made of grapes, and the basket has a stork. It's as if it's the baby that was arriving in your family, but also this new vineyard was also a baby. It's a wonderful coming together of the label, the land, the story, the vineyard, and the wine. This wine makes me very happy. Every time I present it, the story is really beautiful.
Yes, thank you very much. It's true. There is a story behind this label, which was designed by a dear friend of mine, Annabel Dickert, an incredible artist from Germany who lives in Tuscany. And she also designed my second label, Giacomo, but we are talking about it later. Going back to my wine estate in 2013, we purchased some more hectares because one of our neighbors, decided to sell some of his vineyards, and we took that chance to extend our vineyards with the help of Alessandro Cellai, who is our current enologist and one of the dearest friends and pupils of my father. Without Alessandro, we would never have taken this step.
So for those of you who are listening who don't know, Alessandro Cellai, as Ilaria said, was one of Giacomo's students. He is also the enologist at Castellare di Castellina, very famous Chianti Classico. But he's much more than just someone you work with, isn't he? He's much more like a brother.
Exactly. He's more like a brother, yes, he's part of the family now. And we don't move one single berry without asking him what we have to do. We trust him 100%, and he's a great, great man. And I'm very happy that he recovered, because last year he had COVID and was very, very bad. He was in the hospital for various weeks and months, and now he's much, much better, and thanks God he's helping us again. And I saw him a few days ago. My husband was supposed to come with me to Sardinia, but Alessandro came to taste our Merlot, and he said, no, Raffaella, you are not going to Sardinia. You stay here and harvest. The grapes is ready to be harvested right now. We don't have to lose one day, because this is the right point of maturation. We have to pick at the very peak of maturation, at the very best, to obtain the very best and the excellent wine we hope to obtain.
And Alessandro has these piercing blue eyes. When he tells you you have to do something, you have to do it right now. You can't ignore him.
Exactly. He's very bossy.
He's very bossy. But in a good way. He wants the best.
Yes, in a good way.
So tell me about Pargolo. Tell me how the blend came, because I know you had a lot to do with deciding what that blend was going to be.
Yes, at the very beginning, we had one single vineyard, and that was only Sangiovese for 80% and the 20% of Merlot. So we put in the Pargolo blend only Sangiovese and Merlot. And we understood by the first vintages, which were 2008, 2010, that this blend was a really good formula for us. The wine was incredibly drinkable, fresh, with a lot of fruit and a lot of plum in it, mineral. So it was really a wine we liked, and that's why we decided to continue in that direction. And for a few years, we made Pargolo using 80% of Sangiovese and 20% Merlot.
Pargolo is the easiest Chianti Classico to present and to discuss and to teach. I use this wine all the time when I'm doing tastings, because it tells a story that's so honest and genuine. It really speaks of the land in San Casciano. It is a wonderful, wonderful blend. And what Ilaria is not saying, because she never does, is that it was awarded 90 points by the Wine Advocate.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Cynthia, but I think there is a little mistake. Pargolo was given 88 points and Giacomo 90 points by Wine Spectator.
I'm sorry.
It's the other way around.
My mistake.
It's the other way around.
Mistake.
Anyway, I love Pargolo, and we always have very high scores also on Bibenda, with Pargolo and with Giacomo. Everybody loves Pargolo. All our customers come back to us and ask us to ship them Pargolo. Also the private customers, it's incredibly loved, this wine. I have to say that the area where we grow Sangiovese and Merlot in San Casciano is a very special area because it's not the heart of the Chianti Classico. It's not Gaiole or Rada. We are only 200 and 200, 300 meters above sea level. So we are a bit lower in comparison to the other communes of Chianti Classico. So we have a very early maturation of the grapes, but all our Chianti Classicos in the area of San Casciano have a particular taste. They are very drinkable, even if they are young, and they have very rounded tannins, and they're fragrant, and they have a lot of mature fruit, which is what is really loved by most consumers of Chianti Classico.
It's a beautiful, beautiful vineyard, land rolling downhill, which is really carefully cared for by Raffaele, Ilaria's husband. The second wine that Ilaria makes besides the Pargolo is Giacomo, obviously named for her father, which is 100% Merlot. Is that right?
100% Merlot, and we started to produce Giacomo in 2014, which, if you remember, was a very bad year, bad vintage for many, many wineries and many regions. And for this reason, in 2014, we decided to sell all our grapes, especially Sangiovese. But when we came to harvest the Merlot, I found it was incredibly good. I loved it. I had the vision that this Merlot could turn into a very, very good wine. And so I was harvesting, I was in the field, and I told Raffaele, I think we should not sell this Merlot. And we called Castello de Rampolla, where we made wine in the very beginning. And we asked them if they had a vat empty for us where we could ferment our Merlot. And they said, yes, there is. So we took the grapes straight away to Panzano. And a few years later, we discovered that this Merlot had turned into an incredibly good, excellent, really top. And when we tasted it, Alessandro, we were at the Castello de Rampolla on a very nice and sunny September morning, and we decided that this wine, we both thought this wine would have been loved by my father, and we decided to name it after him.
And I think the same illustrator did the label. Is that correct? It's a beautiful drawing of Giacomo on the label.
Yes, exactly. And it exalts his eyes, his nose, and his mouth, which were his mezzi di lavoro, how do you say, his tools.
Exactly, his signature. His signature,
exactly.
And that is the wine that has received 5 grappoli from Bibenda and the 90 points from Wine Advocate.
Yes, it's a wine which ages in new barriques for almost 24 months. And when you uncork a bottle of Giacomo, you have the sensation that you are in Tuscany, despite the international variety, which is Merlot. But Merlot in our vineyards have a very, very specific characteristics which you don't find in other regions or in other soils, and it has this incredible sentore scent of vanilla, chocolate, ripe cherry, plum. It has this persistent aftertaste and finale, how we say in Italian, and these solid tannins and a great organoleptic balance, which help the wine have a long life ahead.
This is best news to hear, that it's aging well.
Please correct me if I say something wrong in English, because it's true that I studied English literature, but the technical language, when I go to speak about wine, sometimes is wrong. So you correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Well, Your English is better than my Italian. We have discussed this many times in the past, so I'm never going to correct you. The fun of this, because of where I'm sitting today in Verona with Stevie in the Italian Wine Podcast booth, is that Ilaria came into the wine world because she was working at Vinitialy just as something she didn't really want to do, and she got fascinated there.
Exactly. I followed my father to Vinitaly for many, many years since I was 18, maybe, 19. And I started by helping Marchese Gonzaga from Tenuta San Leonardo and Castello di Rampolla to rinse the glasses and to serve the glasses to their customers. And that's how it all started. But I was fascinated by all these incredibly eccentric people I could meet through wine. And I was also fascinated by the history of each winery, by the culture, by different background all Italian wineries have. It's something which is unique. You don't find in other parts of the world. Wherever you go in Italy, each winery, each estate has things interesting to tell you about.
And now, before COVID, but I hope also after COVID, you've been taking your wines to Asia. So spreading the Italian wine joy and these Italian wine stories to another continent.
Yes, I think I have a link to Asia. And Kimi will be happy to hear that. And our first importer was a Japanese importer, and is still my best importer, and one of my best friends. And I traveled to Japan a couple of times, and the importers came to visit us, and we have a great relationship, and they distribute our wine in Tokyo, Osaka, and also the other famous historical Tokyo, Osaka, and the other one, it doesn't come to my mind. Anyway, it's a very famous Japanese town, city.
Maybe Kyoto?
Kyoto, exactly. Sorry, Kyoto. And I fell in love with Japan and with their culture. And our ambassador lives in Rome. She's called Mika Hisatani, and she represents our wine importer in Italy. So we are always in connection. And a few months ago, we started to ship our wine. We began to ship our wine to China, to Inner Mongolia.
I'm so happy about this.
Start. And next month, we have an order ready for South Korea. So I have a feeling that Asia will be very much in our life in the future.
I'm really glad to hear this, and I'm glad to hear that you're leading the charge of Tuscan wines and Italian wines to Asia, to Korea, to China, and Japan. This is a big and very important market for all of the Italian wines these days.
Exactly. We also have a small importer in New York, and New York is a very important and fundamental area for marketing our wine. And we also have some connections and links in the United Kingdom, which I really love, and Germany, of course, and a little bit in Switzerland.
I think your father would be very proud of everything that you've done in just such a short time with this vineyard. I also know you've got some really exciting projects happening there. You were saying that you used to make the wine at Castello Rompallo, but not for very long. What's happening now?
Yes, we decided that Castello di Rampolla was a little bit too far away from us, and so we decided to look for a wine cellar to construct or to rebuild, and we by chance came across a beautiful tinaia, which is an old name for meaning cellar in the Tuscan tradition. And we purchased an old tinaia from a 95-year-old lady called Maria Panerai, and she was wife, but she was a widow, of course, after so many years, of Mr. Panerai, the man who invented the first diving watches during Second World War. And Panerai is a very important brand for watches in Italy, of course. And she owned some vineyards and estates in the San Casciano area. And she decided to put them on sale because she didn't have any sons and daughters, and she wanted to get rid of them. And the last part of her properties, which was to sell, was his Tinaya. And she was very happy to sell it to me, and we are rebuilding it. It's the Tinaya, the cantina, the cellar of an old Renaissance villa, maybe 2 kilometers from our vineyards, so very close. We hope to inaugurate it in spring 2022. It's a big project. It's not a big winery. It's a small winery. It's just right for our size. We have 7-hectare vineyards, and we mean to produce no more than 30,000 bottles of excellent wine.
I'm really looking forward to coming and raising a glass with you when you open the doors to that winery, when it's finally finished. I know you've been waiting such a long time, and COVID, the pandemic, stopped your work for a while, so it's good to know that it's up and going again.
Yes, and we also had a lot of problems with the Comune because this is an historical area, so we have a lot of strict rules. Before you do any changes, you have to ask for permissions. And you know something about Italian bureaucracy, so...
Well, the last thing I'm going to ask you before I open it up to questions from our listeners is about your family and your hopes for the future. You have such a beautiful family with your 2 sons who are so charming and so talented. And I'm wondering if you think that either of them will follow you into the vineyard, keep Giacomo's legend going, stay with their father, Raffaele, who's a wonderful rock for you.
He's without him, I wouldn't have done nothing, I'm sure. And he's there, he's harvesting, he's facing all the big problems with winemaking and transportations and cultivating the land. It would be very difficult without him. So we are a real couple because we not only we are in love and you have 2 beautiful children, but we also share the same interests and the same love for our land.
And I think also Raffaele is a lot more funny than you are, Ilaria. I think he brings laughter into your life.
Oh, yes, he is. The last thing he told me today is that his tire was off while he was taking the grapes to the cellar. And I said, oh, no, I'm so sorry. What happened to you? Don't worry, he said. I will come also by swimming, but I will come.
That's the Raffaele I know and love. He's the
yes,
perfect...
he has a big sense of humor. And sometimes I miss that, so he compensates.
Good. So what about these boys, Riccardo and Nicolo? What do you think? Are they coming in your vineyard with you?
They always come to the vineyards with me and Raf, especially with Raf more than with me, because the Babbo is, he's the example to follow. But both my parents, Cynthia, have always respected my interests and passions. And I think I will do the same with my boys. They love our little estate and projects. They like wine very much, even if they're very young, but they love wine and they love good food. So I hope that whether they decide to do what to do in the future, the wine world will still be part of their life. And Alvise, who is Raffaele's son and my stepson, he's studying agricultural in San Michele all'Adige in Trentino, and he's becoming passionate with our estate. Alvise is my stepson, and Riccardo and Nicolò, my 2 sons, and they adore him. So I think that the 3 of them can do great things in the future, even if they can choose to have another work on the side. I don't know, but I think they are very much in love and they have big roots in this estate.
This is Ilaria's real heart and soul, is her life as a mother and a wife. So I expected no less out of that answer, and it makes me smile. So I'm really happy to hear that things are going well for you. I know COVID was a difficult time for you and for so many of us. So it's really nice to know that you are going to have a little bit of time celebrating your father in Sardinia, that Raffaele will get there and you have the boys with you. And I'm really looking forward to coming to raise a glass with you to inaugurate the new winery. So At this point,
we will be part of the team for sure.
thank you. At this point, I'll turn it over to Stevie so we can ask our listeners if they have some questions for you.
Thank you.
Ciao Ilaria, come stai?
Sto bene, Kim. Ti abbraccio dalla Sardegna.
Oh my God, it's been so long. I can't believe it. Listen, Ilaria, I have a question. So how many labels do you have? You only have 2 labels, is that correct?
At the moment, we have 2 labels,
And
the
what
Chianti
is
Classico
right?
and the Giacomo. But as soon as we have the wine facility ready for us, we mean to produce a Riserva, a Rosato for the summer, and a Vinsanto, because we planted a little parcel of our vineyards with Vinsanto grapes, and we mean to make Vinsanto following Giacomo's formula. You remember that, maybe, I don't know if you know, but many years ago, I was maybe 15, 16 years old, he wrote a book about Vinsanto. And it's very disappointing to see that in Tuscany, many wineries don't make Vinsanto anymore, or they don't make a good one. So with Alessandro, we decided to make a little quantity of Vinsanto, but of the best quality. And for this reason, we planted Vinsanto grapes last June.
And what is the volume of the productions? How many bottles do you produce of these two labels now?
Our potential is 30,000 bottles.
30,000 bottles.
30,000 bottles.
And
at the moment, we produce only 10,000 because we don't have one facility ready for us, and we have to make the wine in another facility.
So you can basically drink all the wine in the family. At least my family, I think we can take care of that. And where do people, like, first of all, what is the price point of your wine?
Okay, if you go to a restaurant or to a wine, let's say to a wine shop, and I can tell you our vendita diretta prices, which is more or less the prices of wine shops. The Pargolo is 16 euro.
16?
16, yes, and the Giacomo is 30 euros.
Oh my goodness! Just let me just buy them all. I mean, 10,000 bottles.
An online shop. At the moment, we have only 10,000 bottles, but from next year we mean to make much more, 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if we have a demand, we are going to raise a little bit the prices. But I want to be humble at the beginning, you know. I don't want to show off just because I am Giacomo Stacchi's daughter.
You know, I think you have the other problem, to be quite honest, Ilaria. You're too humble, if I might add. You know, we have to work on that. Listen, where can people find you? Like, I kind of have a bone to pick about you because it's very, very difficult to find you and your wine.
That's what I like about us.
I know, honey, but like, I mean, if you have any ambition to, like, you know, make your winery grow.
You're right. You know, but I think that we are more artigiani del vino. Wine artisans and artisans need to be discovered. It's more fun for people. It's an extra value. People live it like an adventure. And
well, discovery is one thing, but being in hiding is completely a different story, right?
Yes. Anyway, I give you my website.
Okay, what is your website?
www.podere trattino, how do you say trattino?
Oh my goodness. First of all, you have to get rid of the dash, the trattino. That's a very bad website. It's not good for algorithm.
Yeah, you're right. I will take this into a high
Yeah, let's take off the dash. Let me give you some free advice. Okay. And anyway, then podere trattino.
Podere trattino, the normal one, not the underline, the normal one. Trattino villa.it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to come down and give you some free advice. Where are you located exactly?
We are in San Casciano Val di Pesa.
Okay. And do you have hospitality?
Yes, we have a rental house, a vacation rental, which is always busy. We have
Now
a
you
rental
tell
right
me.
now.
It's September. I can't do vacation now. So you have you have some hospitality.
Yes.
How
If
many
you go
rooms
on
have
our
you got?
website, we have an apartment accommodating 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice. We have a large pool overlooking the vineyards, which is very beautiful. We have a fantastic view. Cynthia can confirm that.
I can confirm that, and I'm also sitting here laughing because I have spent 5 years trying to boss Ilaria into getting social media. Now I hear Stevie do it really well. Stevie is
Yes.
much more bossy than me, so I'm so happy.
But now I have a collaborator, Barbara, who is helping me, and in 2 we can do many more things. And I have already seen it in the summer. We had a lot of work. So, and she will take care of that. And she's much more.
Let's do that. Let's make a deal.
Yes.
You give me Barbara's phone number, and I'm going
Yes.
to be reaching out to her to
Okay.
get some things done. Okay.
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 Tomorrow morning you can reach her. She's in the office.
Okay, great. Listen, Ilaria, it's been so nice to hear your voice again, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Hopefully at Vinitialy, or we'll come and find you, maybe with the Gita Scholastica, with our VIA community. We'd love to see you, what you are all about, and of course, taste your wines together.
Can I say another few words?
Sure, of course, absolutely.
So what I wanted to tell you is that in spring we will have this new wine cellar, which will be a sort of wine boutique. It's really, really a little jewel. And in front of the cellar, we will have a beautiful vegetable garden and garden with olive trees, organic vegetables, and all aromatic herbs. And it will be possible to visit this beautiful garden as well, which will be taken care and cultivated by some very high professional people. So I invite you to visit the winery and the garden, starting from spring 2002 and 22.
Fantastic. I will count on that. In the meantime, I think we'll have Andre, our Italian wine ambassador, same class as Cynthia. I believe he has a question for you.
Okay.
Ciao, Andre.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you, Andre.
Buonasera dal Lettonia.
Oh, wow.
Anyhow, you just mentioned it. The question is, you just mentioned it that you're planting some variety for your Vinsanto. So
Yes.
probably you are speaking about white variety.
Exactly.
But speaking about, what is your opinion about Occhio di Pernice?
Occhio di Pernice Vinsanto. You mean the Vinsanto?
Yes. From red.
Yes, it's made with red grapes. Exactly. I want to go through it because my father was one of the creators of Occhio di Pernice, and I tasted some excellent Occhio di Pernice at Avignonesi many years ago. And we mean also to take into consideration to make Occhio di Pernice, but at the moment we planted the white varieties, which were selected by Alessandro Cellai, considering what my father told him about Vinsanto. So we have Trebbiano, Malvasia, and and a little bit of Gewürztraminer, I think.
Hello, Andre.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, thanks for your answer, but I'm just would like to ask your opinion about this type of Vinsanto. Is it how to say more traditional?
It will be a very traditional Vinsanto with a little touch of Giacomo. So inside this blend, we will have also some varieties, a little bit of varieties which are not Tuscan, and we will age the wine for 4 years minimum in small caratelli, and we will only make small bottles of 250 milliliters. So it will be very high, let's say, high level Vinsanto.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. I am going to close up the room now. And I don't know if you have
Okay.
an importer in France, but I see Fanny. Fanny, I think you should check her wine out if you haven't already. And that is for now. Next week, don't forget to join us. We're going back to the 8 p.m. slot with, of course, our fermented boss. He is Hugh Priest, one of our favorite ambassadors at Lodge, with Ariane Occhipinti. And that's it for today. Arrivederci, grazie Ilaria, grazie a Cynthia, ciao, ciao a tutti.
Grazie, Ilaria.
Ciao.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.